quick announcement. We have invested a lot of time into YouTube, so go over to my YouTube channel, just type in Jake Dunlap, click the little bell, and you'll get notified every time we upload a video. We have over almost 300 videos now. Anything you want to know about sales, sales leadership, so get over and subscribe. What's going on, everyone? Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to weekly recap number 71. I am Jake Dunlap, CEO of Skaled, and my friends, it's the day after Thanksgiving, so I hope your bellies are full. You're starting to think about that diet plan moving into the holidays, and you're like, forget that, we'll start in January. I'm gonna cover my completion of the Devil Wears Prada herself, Anna Wintour's masterclass, what to do if you get fired, and I will also leave you with a challenge, something to think about over the weekend while you're digesting all of that amazing turkey. In this week's Jake's Take, I want to talk about being grateful in the present. I think a lot of times we have a tendency to look back at the past and kind of learn from our mistakes or learn from all these amazing life lessons, or we look forward to think about some new things that we're going to have that's going to be better. But the grass isn't always greener. I've talked a lot about this over the last year, about really being smart about the current role that you're in. You know, many times when you leave a job, you look back at the good, the bad, and the amount of gratitude you have in retrospect, sometimes that's just glamorizing the past, which we tend to do. But many times there's a lot of truth there. So really try to take stock, be grateful for where you are, be grateful, really think about the intentions of everyone around you, and if they're really aligned to help you and trying to make you a better you. So that is my take. Be grateful for where you are. I'd love to hear something you're grateful about in your current situation as well. In This Week in Awesome, I was able to complete Anna Wintour's, if you don't know, that is the inspiration for the Devil Wears Prada masterclass. And I think when you look at leaders and people who have stood the test of time like she has, I mean, she's been editor of Vogue now for 30 years, right? 20 to 30 years. You get there by having like very clear purpose and vision. And so for anyone, I'd highly recommend you take a look at it. Some of my top takeaways, you know, she talks a lot about leading with vision, the power of an image, lessons learned over the course of her career, but the things that really stood out to me is that, you know, as a leader, you have to be willing to put yourself out there. I see a lot of leaders today really constantly looking for consensus and, you know, constantly looking to make sure you're appeasing, but that's not what being a leader means. Sometimes leader means, you know, you need to be thorough in your decision making. People need to know that this isn't some whim, that you're being thorough in your decision making, but you need to have a vision that people can follow, be okay being independent and kind of being on an island, and sometimes you have to make the tough calls. Another thing that she called out was a team that grows together is one that wins the long term. And I think right now we live in a world that's so short-term focused. Like, I feel like it's real easy, especially if you're in sales or marketing, to treat people like little production widgets. And like, is Johnny producing widgets as opposed to, look, we're gonna grow together as an organization. And so I think those were some of my top takeaways around the importance of being strong as a leader, understanding that sometimes you have to make those tough calls on your own and not look for consensus, but to do what you think is right for the future, and then really thinking long-term about your business. So it's a great one to check out if you're looking to up your leadership game. All right, my friends, this week's in the news, a new study from Coal Miner. US companies lose $136 billion due to customer switching, right? That could be right before the purchase, right after the purchase, right? And according to American Express, again, 2 studies last few weeks, more than half of Americans have scrapped a planned purchase or transaction because of bad service, and 1 in 3 will pay more to receive a higher level of service. So again, we're thinking about gratitude, we're thinking of things about we appreciate. Think about your buyer experience and your customers. Are you grateful that someone came to your website and you're trying to give them an amazing experience? Are you grateful for your current customers, and are you spending an equal amount of time on them as you are your net new business? So my friends, I love these articles because they really start to highlight that as consumers have more and more choices, and this is the same for B2B, the exact same, you need to think about how you're showing appreciation and gratitude for your clients. You need to think about the delivery of service, right? Delivery of the web impact and the speed of that. And really, I want everyone to think about how do you show gratitude toward your customers or people that are in your marketing funnel every single day versus asking. So that is in the news. I'd love to hear your comments and ways that you're showing gratitude to your customers, or my marketing friends, how you're thinking about your customer experience up front. Hashtag Ask Jake Anything. By the way, the questions are coming in. I love them. Keep them coming. Nikki Ivey. What's up, Nikki? How are you? Hope you're doing well. I can see you down here in Austin. I'm waving. What are the best first or whatever steps to take after being fired from a sales job? Well, I can tell you because I've been fired from a sales job. The first thing to do is listen to Train in your car alone and cry. That's what I did, right? I'm not too proud to admit it. I remember driving home and I was like, oh my God, my life is over. Now, granted, I told my boss to f off. Now, and in retrospect, that was not the proper thing to do. But when I got fired for the first time, I literally thought my life was over. I was like, oh my God, like this doesn't happen, etc. And then throughout life, I'm like, oh no, this happens like all the time. So take a moment for yourself. That's my like very first piece of advice. It is okay to have a little pity party. I remember calling my girlfriend at the time and be like, oh yeah, I got fired, like I can't believe blah, blah, blah. And it set me on a path to then go into tech and go into startup worlds, and like life has kind of like worked out. So, and then the next thing is just take stock of what you want to do next. So for me, like I kind of went into like the real estate game for like 6 months, like in Phoenix during like the peak. So, you know, I kind of realized like what I wanted to do or not do. So take a little bit of time to be really smart about it. What the next move is for you. What's the right culture for you? What's the right opportunity for you? What are your strengths? What are the rough edges that you have? What you're amazing at, because you're amazing and capable of so much. And then move forward. If you have a question for me, I'm happy to talk about all of my firings. You can hit hashtag AskJakeAnything, and I will do my best to answer all of your questions. All right, my friends, in this weekly challenge, I want all of you to think back to a previous role you had. Somebody who you worked for, who at the time, you're like, man, forget that guy, right? Or like, oh, I don't appreciate him. He doesn't appreciate me. All of us have that person as you go in your career. Maybe it's an old coach or someone. I want every single person, it's a Friday after Thanksgiving. I know you're just sitting around anyway. I want you to tag that one person in a post. I want you to say, hey, John, here's what I appreciated. I had an opportunity to do a book with Scott McGregor called Standing O, where I talked a little bit about Evan Ross and what he did. What's going on, Evan? And so I want everyone to really take this moment to give a little gratitude to someone to help you get here. Weekly recap, number 71. Now go enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm out.